NFL season has officially come to an end where we got the new Super Bowl champions at Super Bowl 60. Congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks, your whole team, front office, fan base, second Super Bowl in their franchise history, getting revenge from the one with a Malcolm Butler interception, beating these New England Patriots handedly. So let's just get it to the reaction of the game because it's not much, to be honest. It went as expected.
It's very simple. There's no need to overthink this. The Seattle defense just put together one of the greatest performances in Super Bowl history. They were so dominant that Drake May was rattled, Josh McDaniel was rattled, and the overall Patriots offense just couldn't do anything. I know it's weird because Drake May has a record of most passing yards in a quarter in Super Bowl history, but all of that was in garbage time because what the Seattle Seahawks defense did in this football game was criminal because literally they made Drake May's life a living hell. The offensive line did not help him much. The receivers did not help him much. And obviously he did not help himself much too. Again, you can't pin everything on one thing for the Patriots offense, but one thing is for sure is that the Seattle Seahawks defense absolutely whooped their ass.
Super Bowl MVP was Kenneth Walker, and he did deserve it. But, like, obviously, in my opinion, was, like, it's one of those times where I'm like, just give it to the whole defense. Because, like, only reason why their defense didn't get it, it wasn't, like, one player made significant impact. It was a whole team thing. Like how Von Miller had that big impact in the Super Bowl 50 or whatever it was when they beat the Carolina Panthers, the Denver Broncos, that is, at the time. So, ultimately, like you said it perfectly, the defense was the main show of this game. I was obviously hoping for a much closer game. That's why I was kind of predicting that it's going to be a closer game than we think. There was a little moment, though, because the Patriots defense did keep it close and May got that touchdown, but ultimately that pick sealed it overall. But offensively, the Seahawks were not great. The simplest way for me to put it. Clint Kubiak acknowledged that. Sam Darnold acknowledged that. Sam Darnold, to be honest, didn't have to do much this game compared to the Rams game overall. The run game, though, helped open everything up. The run game is the one that helped Sam Darnold when he did need to make some throws, which is why this Kenneth Walker performance is amazing, especially the right time for him because he's a free agent this offseason, and this is going to give him some money, whether that be from the Seahawks or a different franchise. This Seahawks running game, specifically by Kenneth Walker because Charbonnet missed some time, was against a really good run defense led by Mike Vrabel and that defense overall, right? And he opened the game up. He did not get to the paint, but his run game effectively helped open the pass game to a certain extent, which obviously they couldn't do much in the red zone. The kicking game, Jason Myers obviously had to get them 9 points at the halftime for a reason. But overall, this run game mixed in with his defense plus the kicking game, all put together, just pretty much helped them win the game. Because the fact that this game did not need JSN says a lot of how much this defense and run game did.
That's the credit gotta go to John Schneider, the general manager, who's obviously won 2 Super Bowls with completely different coaching staffs and completely different rosters. And the reason why I give him a lot of credit is because he has built a team that has won in multiple different ways. In the NFC Championship game, which is basically everyone's Super Bowl, it was Sam Darnold in the offense and literally getting every bit of that offense to win that shootout. In this game, it was literally the defense. It was Kenneth Walker. It was Jason Myers. So a lot of credit has to go to a general manager for putting together a roster that can win in multiple ways because it was clear in this playoff run that they needed that. And it's clear that a really good contending team needs that element where if one thing isn't working, something else will step up and get the job done. This game obviously was the defense. In the NFC Championship game, it was Sam Darnold. And I'm going to talk about Sam Darnold here a little bit more. One thing I give him credit for is when he was under pressure, under duress, 1 year ago, he absolutely fumbled a bag. He kept on getting sacked. He couldn't do anything. He couldn't create anything against the LA Rams last year. This year, similar situation. As much as Drake May got bullied, Sam Darnold got almost as equally bullied because that Patriots defense was playing incredible still. It just, they got overshadowed by the Seahawks defense. But what Sam Darnold did is that he didn't flinch. He avoided, his escapability in that game was incredible because he avoided negative plays where Drake May kept on getting sacked. He somehow found ways to avoid it, whether it be with his legs, throwing the ball away, or just getting the ball out quick. So you got to give him credit for that, because that was a big difference in the beginning of the game. And then obviously as the game went on, he made the couple throws that he needed to, with the AJ Barner touchdown after the forced turnover by the Seahawks defense. And he himself, not even just the Super Bowl, just this entire playoff run, did not turn the football over once. Which is a guy that we was classified as, even when he was playing good football and a good last couple of years, but still you had concern of how he's going to play under pressure and how he's going to
take care of the ball.
Yeah, take care of the football. Literally shut down all those narratives in this playoff run, and especially in that Super Bowl.
Like, we're going to obviously do a good Sam Darnold video, which everybody should make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. You guys do not want to miss that. And I emphasized in that video that his turnovers worst and still kind of are a factor in terms of the regular season. This postseason, like you said, 0 turnovers. Obviously got sacked. At the end of the day, it's still a good Patriots defense and other like teams that did get to him, but he kept the ball to himself. Didn't need to turn the ball over, fumble the ball. Yes, were there some plays, some throws when I was watching this game, and I'm like that was my reaction. Yeah. And like, there were literally some plays that like Christian Gonzalez was amazing for the Patriots. Could have gotten a pick late in the first half. There were other plays that like either it was luckily it wasn't picked off, made a play, whatever the case might be. But ultimately, it's like how they say in Shorzy sometimes, it's not how, but how many. How many for him was 0 at the end of the day in terms of turnovers, and that's what ended up being. To your point about Sean Schneider, the other thing I want to give a lot of credit to, not just because of the rosters he constructed, in my opinion, should be a Hall of Famer, could be first ballot. We know how corrupt the Hall of Fame can be at times with Belichick and Robert Kraft and them not getting in. He knew the right time to move off of some of these quarterbacks. First off, Russell Wilson. Yes, when he won the Super Bowl, he wasn't the Russell Wilson that we knew who might be a Hall of Famer himself, but when he moved off of him, when Russell Wilson's ego was kind of getting in the way, he pretty much said that, pretty much predicted that his regression is going to hit soon. Perfect time to trade him. Many people were like, why are you trading franchise legend? This guy, like, how often do you trade a quarterback like that? He was horrible with Denver. Obviously, we know what the Russell Wilson is now. He got many picks, hit on the draft class that got those picks with Devin Witherspoon, I think Jackson Smith and Najigba, and so on and so forth, right? And then when he banked on Geno Smith proved everybody wrong. It was time to pay Geno Smith. Nope, let's trade Geno Smith away. We're going to sign Sam Darnold in the offseason. Again, everybody was like, that's a downgrade. Me and you thought it was at least lateral move. At most, right? Like we had, listen, Sam Darnold, I was never doubting him I was never doubting him as an NFL quarterback. I have my doubts as a Super Bowl winning quarterback, sure, but I was never off the Sam Darnold train like you kind of were. Did I have
a lot of people?
A lot of people. I'm not saying just you, but did I have one foot out the train door sometimes? Sure, but like that's the one guy I've been super happy for. But John Schneider pretty much said like, nah, like not the case, because Geno Smith had a horrible year. He's not even going to be the Raiders quarterback anymore. Meanwhile, Sam Darnold is now your Super Bowl winning quarterback. Let's move off of DK Metcalf. He doesn't deserve all that money. Elevated JSN, brought in a guy like Cooper Kupp. Yes, past his prime, but good veteran guy. Go get Rashid Shaheed in the offseason as well. So
trade
overall, during the trade deadline. So overall, what this guy has done, up to your points, building good rosters, was also managing the roster perfectly of when to move off of these guys, getting the draft picks right this time. And ultimately, there was a shout that like when Pete Carroll left, you might as well move off John Schneider. Let's get rid of that era overall and start afresh. Good thing Jody Allen did not do that. John Schneider has a Hall of Fame career, and it showed with your points of the Super Bowls and my points of how he managed the roster overall.
So we mentioned the GM, we mentioned the players, the offense, the defense, the special teams, but there's one man left to mention, and his name is Mike Macdonald, because this guy is an absolute genius when it comes to the defensive side of the game. And again, a lot of people at the time were saying maybe the Ravens have let the wrong coach go when he got the Seattle job. But what he did is year one, he felt like the offense wasn't good enough. He moved on from the OC. Obviously, he had the say of moving on from Geno Smith as well. Brought in Clint Kubiak, hired obviously a great guy, a future head coach now as well, because he's taking the Raiders job, and obviously believed in Sam Darnold and helped bring him in as well. And then on top of that, his defense, he was created the dark side, which is the new name for the Seattle defense, the Legion of Boom 2.0.
I'm going to cut you off 1 sec. Before even this defense became his defense, he moved off of pieces last year's deadline as well. Like, these guys didn't fit. Go get me Leonard Williams. Go get me Boy Moffett, all these guys. He moved off of guys either they signed or they already had because it did not fit his scheme. overall.
Yeah, overall, like this guy knew what he needed. Like that just tells your coach that he knows what he needs from his players. He knows what type of defense they're gonna be playing, and he just needs players to execute his game plan. And obviously, his game plan and his mind is just absolutely, he's a genius because his scheme was so difficult to play against. It just showed you that a literal MVP, almost winner who lost by one first place vote, couldn't do anything about it. So literally, it was just, and also not even just, also out coaching Josh McDaniels, who himself is an experienced head coach in the Super Bowl. And this is a conversation I think you brought up.
You mean not head coach, offensive coordinator.
Offensive coordinator. Yeah, he is terrible head coach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But this is a conversation you brought up where like you might bet on Josh McDaniels' Super Bowl experience over Mike McDonald. I was like, I don't think that's gonna be a factor because this guy just so good, goddamn good at his job, and that's what the case was in the Super Bowl. So shout out to Mike McDonald. Felt like we shouted out everything.
John Schneider for hiring Mike McDonald.
Yeah, I felt like we shouted out everything for Seattle now. But let's go to the other side. And again,
yeah, so
incredible season for the New England Patriots and Mike Vrabel and Drake May, not taking nothing away from that, because at the end of the day, this team was a 4-win team last year, and now they were a 14-win team this year. And on top of that, Drake May is only in his second year, the second youngest quarterback to start in a Super Bowl. So this guy has a great future ahead of him, and all those things. But at the same time, you made a Super Bowl, you lost in that fashion. You're gonna be looking at this as a missed opportunity for sure.
So, like then now when you look at it in hindsight, it's like, oh yeah, good thing Stafford won MVP, because the only guy that gave that defense trouble was all 3 times Stafford played him. Yes, he ended up losing 2 out of the 3, but sometimes you might not blame him for the losses because like how good he performed, right? Almost any other quarterback that played against the Seattle defense struggled. There was a reason why I think pretty much Seattle was the best in terms of allowing the least amount of points in the NFL, and getting points off turnovers and all that stuff, right? So like, shout out Stafford winning MVP. Like we saw like how legit he is, and he's coming back for another year. But Drake May, I think the question is, like I said, we didn't need to go over the game too much again. The defense kept them in the game. They ultimately could not do anything on the offensive side of the ball. I do blame Josh McDaniel for not being a little bit aggressive, or the play calling, whether you want to blame Mike Vrabel on that as well. I personally blame the O-line a lot, but at the end of the day, the O-line is also, on the left side especially, both of them are rookies. I do believe Will Campbell will learn from this and be better, because I don't think it's a fluke that he was a 4th overall pick for a reason.
I also think there's a case where he had a torn MCL or some MCL injury, but I'm not 100% for sure about that. But I know he got injured during the season. Before that injury, he was obviously playing really well. Ever since he came back from that injury, that's when his game kind of took a step back. So obviously, again, you're looking at Will Campbell, a talented player, hoping he learns from this and does better. We don't, at the end of the day, I'm still confident that pick is a hit for them at the end of the day, so I'm not going to question that. But then again, it was a very bad performance. And obviously, like you said, the whole entire O-line played pretty bad, especially the left side, who were 2 rookie and young guys.
And then, like, listen, and the other thing that did not go well for these guys is they didn't have a go-to receiver. It still baffles me that Diggs didn't get targeted as much as he should have. Like, obviously in the late garbage time is when he got his things. Keyshawn Boutte was targeted, Douglas, whatever. Even like Hunter Henry didn't get much in my opinion as well. A lot of that is, again, they were rushing 4 and they covered the receivers pretty well because they were getting success rushing 4. Obviously throw in a mix of blitz from the corners and safeties and whatever the case might be. Witherspoon obviously having a great game there, which sped up Drake May's clock. But for me, it's like, if I'm looking like, we didn't need to talk about the game too much, so let's talk about the next steps very quickly before, like, just very quickly here. For me, is can they go get yes, address the O-line, but B, can they find a go-to receiver? As good as Diggs did for them this year, as good as these guys, Keyshawn Boutte stepped up this year for them, if AJ Brown is available and he is unhappy in Philadelphia, and I've predicted during the regular season that he's gonna be going there because him and Mike Vrabel, I believe, have a good relationship, go get a guy like that. And I'm sure he's motivated as well. You have Drake May, who I believe should be learning from this and being better at the end of the day. I think that's one thing they need to address. The next thing I do want to ask you with this is, going back to the Patriots season, is, like, everybody's bringing this up. How much of was it this easy schedule thing a factor of them, like, just being over, like, being a big factor of this thing? Because obviously it wasn't brought up much during the year. But Drake May during the regular season and then when he played against tough defenses was a night and day difference.
For sure, it was. And I'm not going to take away this season away from Drake May because he was incredible this year. But at the same time, did he really prove anything that he is going to be a top tier quarterback in this league? He proved that he's going to be a great quarterback in this league, but is he going to be has he proved that he's going to be a top tier future quarterback, like, you know, where the Mahomes, Josh Allen, Burrow, all these guys are, right? Again, he's young. He has a lot of time to prove that to happen.
Trajectory's kind of there.
Trajectory's kind of there. You have hope for that. But at the end of the day, if you're looking at this year, even though he finished second in MVP voting, I don't think he answered that just because of that tough schedule. And compared to that and his postseason performance, you could tell that there was a gap in one competition and also the other gap in his level of play. But that doesn't change the fact that this guy's still one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL and has a lot to look forward for and a lot for Patriots fans to look forward for, because this guy at the end of the day was incredible. But at the same time, now you got to be looking at him a little bit more closely because next year the schedule is going to be a lot tougher.
But in his favor, I don't know what division they're playing, but Mahomes isn't the first seed in the West. Jackson is not the first. I'm not saying that's a fact. I'm just saying a general.
Look, yeah, I know. Like, obviously, there's some benefit to that doesn't change the fact that compared to this year and compared to next year, there's going to be conversations here.
There's obviously a proper playbook on him now.
If he's not playing good next year, there's going to be narratives going to be put out there. I'm not saying they're necessarily valid to put him out, but at the same time, a conversation will be had if this guy goes into next season playing like how he did in the postseason. And then again, you got to give him a lot of credit because for the guts he showed, because he was dealing with an injury as well.
That
he was
plus
also
getting him sacked in record times.
Yeah, that's also another factor. So again, don't get me, like I said this in the beginning of the video, this loss at the end of the day was on the Patriots offense as a whole, not just Drake May, because at the end of the day, we have seen the best quarterback in the NFL struggle when he got pressured constantly and got pressured by four linemen instead of getting blitz all the time constantly in Patrick Mahomes last year and in the Tampa Bay Super Bowl in 2020. So again, you put any quarterback behind there, I don't know if they're going to be successful yesterday against that defense. But at the same time, you're looking at hopefully that this isn't a missed opportunity and they could find a way to get back, because at the end of the day, it is very difficult to get back to the Super Bowl because a lot of quarterbacks, Cam Newton, who was really good, Matt Ryan, who won MVP in his year, and my boy Julio Jones, Joe Burrow, the biggest recent one, and the Cincinnati Bengals team, who we thought was going to be the next good young team to, contend for the Super Bowl. Obviously, it didn't turn out that way. So again, missed opportunity because you lost the Super Bowl. Do I have more hope in your front office and ownership to get the job done and your coaching staff? I do. So that's why I feel a little bit confident that it could be back. At the same time, you got to look at Drake May, because here's the thing. The only way the Patriots come back is if Drake May takes that step into elite superstardom, because in the AFC, Mahomes is going to be back. Jackson's going to be back in the Ravens. The Bills and Josh Allen are still going to be there no matter what idiotic GM they have who's going to put no one to help out Josh Allen. And then obviously
you still have teams like
the Broncos, the Texans, the Chargers, who are going to be really competitive. The Jaguars, who obviously took a massive step here. So it's no guarantee.
Yeah, because some of those teams obviously were missing opportunity this year. CJ Stroud was better. Maybe we would have been talking about the Texans in the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Listen, at the end of the day, from my take for the Patriots to close it out on the Patriots side of things is, listen, I do agree with you. It's obviously not going to be easy to come back. There was a big night and day difference between when he played an easy schedule and how amazing he was. Like, the Patriots were not expected to be here. Let's be real, right? They finished above expectations. Drake May took a step forward during the regular season. Yes, when the lights shine bright, playing against these tough defenses, he struggled. Yes, did he make one or two plays that ended up winning them a game? Yeah, 100%. Obviously, outside of the Super Bowl, that was the case. But it is going to be tough to get there. But obviously next year, I'm not going to say, yes, this is guaranteed or anything. It's never guaranteed, like you said. But the plan, the trajectory, the surrounding pieces and all that, as long as nothing too much changes, it is there for them to eventually get back Obviously, we don't know if that's a guarantee. We know it's not a guarantee, and we don't know if it's ever going to happen. But at least it's not one of those teams where you look at it, you're like, this was just a one-off opportunity. Like if your Raptors had lost in 2019, for example, like, oh yeah, we knew that was the missed opportunity of not winning. They're not going to get back. At least there is some hope for these guys. And then going over to the Seahawks side, are they going to be back? What's the case there? I think they have a lot. Like, yes, their defense, as long as the team stays, yes, is a good chance for sure. They have some free agents. They obviously have big question marks to answer. Clint Kubiak is now the Raiders head coach. So you got to fill a big void on the O-line, the offensive coordinator side of things. So that means you might lose some of your staff as well on top of that. The other thing is the ownership being sold. Obviously, it's a big time for them to sell because they're the Super Bowl. When else? They won the Super Bowl. High opportunity. So you better hope you get an ownership that's kind of similar to what you have. Just let John Schneider do his thing. If that's not the case and you get a meddling ownership, that will be a big thing otherwise. But if you're talking about the team as a whole right now, again, the Rams should be back, be better. I feel the Niners should be healthier and be better. Obviously, you're hoping the Eagles figure out their bullshit. And so on. Again, AFC's tough. NFC's also going to be tough. So it's going to be, at least they won the Super Bowl. You would hope these guys will be back next year. They should be in the playoff mix for sure. And if they do get to the playoffs, this team, as long as his defense is still healthy and there and Sam Darnold does not take a step back, at least at the very minimum, is his game manager self or takes a step forward, why not the Seahawks running back next year as well? Or in general.
Something has changed in this season in the NFL. Before it was all about having a good quarterback. This year, it was all about having a great defense. And right now, teams like the Texans, the teams like the Broncos, the Seahawks, the Chargers, all had great defenses in this year. The Eagles as well. So this year it proved that defense wins championships. So I don't know if it's going to go back to that next year or if it's going to change again. We don't know. But at the same time, we know that at the end of the day, it's happened 2 years in a row now. If you have elite defensive linemen who can get pressure with four constantly, those are the players that are going to win you the Super Bowl. Last year was the Philadelphia Eagles and their incredible defense. This year it was the Seattle Seahawks and their incredible defense. So yes, I do have faith that the Seattle Seahawks can be back, because at the end of the day, when I'm looking at the Patriots side, I'm looking at Drake May. Like, if he's good and he becomes that guy, yeah, I have confidence. This one, Sam Darnold just got to do what he just did in this playoff.
You can't be CJ Stroud. Obviously, your point, you need defense to be great defense. So
Sam Darnold didn't cost him. Sam Darnold did his thing, stepped up whenever he needed to step up. Other thing, Justin Herbert couldn't do anything.
O-line, but yeah.
We would have had a different conversation about the Denver Broncos if Bo Nix was healthy.
Yeah.
And again, CJ Stroud. At the end of the day, Justin Herbert didn't do anything. Drake May couldn't get the job done. CJ Stroud. All these teams with elite defenses
and to your point, they beat
missed opportunities.
One of those teams with a healthy Bo Nix, mostly healthy Bo Nix. Broncos beat Josh Allen.
Exactly. So we might probably have a different conversation about the Denver Broncos, and probably would have if the
blueprint's there. Essentially, is what you're saying. So
it's at the end of the day, it just feels like you get the defense set up, you get the D-line set up, especially. You're gonna have a chance. That's what this NFL season felt like, and honestly, it proved that way, because all these, even the Jaguars, who had incredible defense this year, and they found a way to get the job done, make the playoffs. So this year, it just felt like there was a season of elite defense and good enough offense. And
solid game manager quarterback, essentially. But before we wrap it up here, I do want to say one last thing. I do want to give a shout out to my buddy who's a big supporter of us, BC Boy in the comments, all three channels, football, hockey, and basketball channels that he always comments on and everything. He's a big time Seahawks fan, so I gotta give him a huge congratulations. He's been a Jays fan with us. He's a Jays fan like us. He obviously supports the Whitecaps as well, and he had a pretty tough year like us. And obviously, I'm still here sitting kind of annoyed that the Jays couldn't get it done, because I wanted to have some big celebration this year as well. But for him being a Seahawks fan, he finally got one this year. So it's a huge shout out to him, not just for being a big supporter of us, but for his fandom. He deserves it. Shout out to you. And hopefully you're Canadians, or for us, the Canucks eventually, Hockey Canada can get the job done, the Blue Jays once again. So once again, shout out to him. But to everybody else watching, we appreciate you guys so far. What you guys think? What's next for us? We're not done here. The offseason's here. We have free agency, we have draft, we have a lot of topics, we have a lot of videos planned. You guys do not want to miss that, so hit that post notification bell, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 200 subscribers. We appreciate the support so far. Comment down below what was your favorite moment of the NFL season. Like this video, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.